I am CouchCube and you have reached tier 7 of the Elden Ring update saga. I like to look at all of them. This one was freaking tiny, but it did have a lot to unpack, and we had a mountain of balance adjustments and PvP weapon adjustments. It's amazing how much that team are putting into the online version of this game. Totally cool. Loads of fixes, but of course right at the bottom of the pile, the needle amongst the haystack, our little gem. They might have sorted some of the performance issues out. Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say, but you never know. We might see some improvements. So left of the screen is 1.7, the newer patch. I always like to go to this area of the map, test it out. It's a lot of reflections here. 1.4, 1.5 had real problems in this spot. That's why I always choose it. And of course, I can only compare to the previous video I shot. So I've got to fight the frickin' lobsters. Left screen, the eyes are red. They patched that in, did they? I'm scared enough of these things, let alone them having beady red demon eyes. Okay, here's the skinny, and this applies to that previous bit of footage as well. It's no better and it's no worse. The reason I'm putting this out is because sometimes when they patch these things, they can screw it up and make things dire on a frame rate level. But this is just exactly down the middle. 1.4 and 1.5 kind of sorted this stuff out. It's still not as smooth as I'd like to see it, but it's workable, and it's quite a complicated section in the game. There's more than one of these things in the background, water and smashing particles everywhere. It does pretty well, but it's not pegged. Right, crowd control. We're in the performance mode currently. This is the main offender, particularly this camp and village, and annoyingly it's right at the front of the game as well, so any newcomers just get smacked in the face with it. There are small dips on the left hand screen still. It's understandable, massive amount of people on screen. I've also unleashed my skelly warriors, but still I'd like to see it a bit tighter than that if you're in a performance mode on this particular game. I actually don't mind the game in its current state. I play it on performance mode as default. I do experiment with the Fidelity Mode, but when you're riding around on torrent, you need to have some nice smooth frame rates, and the pop-in also I think has been dealt with incredibly well, and it's almost been ironed out. It looks like an actual normal open world game. But going around that village, you can just tell, because there's so much activity in there, that it's loading in and having a bit of a nightmare. It could be fixed on a fundamental level within the code. I don't know if they've just made it a bit too top heavy and we'll never see a smooth performance in and around this area. Let's talk about horse-based combat, because I was very into getting footage of the Forest Sentinel, which I killed, which I can't get footage of anymore, but it was quite notorious on the start with horseback foes, you being on your horse or on foot, but it's quite clearly completely workable, and the game doesn't really bother me at all in this performance mode. I also think this is where base level machines have problems, the PlayStation 4 in particular, so my heart goes out to you guys. God only knows what problems you're dealing with on that front. Okay, now this is a Fidelity Mode comparison. It's interesting because I think the frames do stick to 30 as much as they possibly can. The thing with this mode is if you're out in that open world map and there's all kinds of assets around you and maybe dormant enemies or large groups, it just has a bit of a nightmare. If you're fighting a boss in like a cut-off arena that's not part of the main game, so to speak, then it's absolutely fine. I think what might happen in the future is that From will release a platform targeted update for the 10th generation systems. CDPR are rumoured to be doing this with Cyberpunk and just putting exclusive updates in to take advantage of those higher powered machines. That would obviously be absolutely friggin' awesome. But I want to go on record as saying that the Elden Ring is probably one of my favourite PlayStation 5 games. It's gone in numerous lists that I've built. I find its offline single player content to be some of the best available in this current gaming generation, and I also feel its visuals are just absolutely breathtaking, even with some of these minor performance issues. So I have been CouchCube, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing you down there.